Hello, how are you? This holiday season, such a gift to be given. I wanted to talk about a holiday message. My story, I want to tell you my story. So my story is last year I thought I was going to sell, I did sell everything. I sold everything and was going to move into an RV. I was doing it for some family members. I don't want to go into all the story because I like to keep a certain amount of things private and personal because everybody doesn't want their business on the internet. You know what I mean? So I was going to move. I was going to sell everything. I sold everything. I sold all my Christmas. Let's just get to that. I sold all my Christmas decorations, everything, because I thought, you know what? I'm going to be with family. I'm going to be in an RV. I don't need that stuff anymore. And so I just sold everything. So when it all went downhill and didn't work out, and I stayed the night in the RV, didn't like it, hated it, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend my life like this. Sometimes you have no idea what you have until it's all taken away. And so when it was all taken away by my choice, and I had to stay in an RV, I was just devastated. And then all kinds of stuff happened, and words were said, and I had to stop and pause and take a look at my life and go, oh my gosh, I was willing to throw away everything I worked so hard for. I manifested this house in 6 months after getting a divorce. This was the home of my dreams, and I was just going to throw it all away. So this kind of shows you what you're going through in life when you make decisions like that. When you're spinning, I call it, and making decisions that aren't the smartest decisions, you have to wonder what's going on with me. And there was a lot going on with me. I was not fulfilled or satisfied with what I was doing anymore. With my behind the scenes work, and I was doing my best to find a way out. And once you create a lifestyle like this, you got a certain amount of money that has to come in every single month. And so I started working on new projects and working on myself. And when you start doing, excuse me, I've been singing all morning, so my voice is kind of, when you start doing projects and when you start doing other things and praying for God to give you a smooth transition out of what you're no longer resonate or feel like you want to do, because I'm a woman of a certain age now, and so I feel like it's time for me to retire from that amazing job that got me out of my divorce and got me a new home. I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful for all my fans. I'm forever grateful for it. And there's so much I could do with that and make so much money, and I could keep going and going and going. But I feel like in my heart that it's time to retire from that. And so my goal is to not have as many, oh, there goes my microphone, is to not have the debt. So if I sold everything, I could pay everything off, and then I could quit that job, and then I could finally do Andrea's Guiding Light. But as you know, it didn't quite work out that way, so I'm in this transitional period to where I have to do that for a little bit longer so that everything else will grow. And sometimes during that process, it can be like, it's very difficult because your heart wants this new spiritual life and this new love that you've found inside of yourself. And you know that you're not just an object, you're a person, and and you're changing, you're evolving, you're getting closer to God. And so you've heard a lot of stories of that, of people, once they, get closer to God, then they no longer want to do the other fleshly ego ways. And the only reason I did that was because I was good at it. My husband taught me everything he knew. and I could just swing right in there and make money. And that's exactly what I did. And it was enough to get me through. And when that didn't work out and I moved back here, I moved back in here to this house with nothing in this house. I had to completely start over and put everything on credit cards. It became interesting, and it still is a little interesting. So I stay doing all of them until the ones I really want to do start to take off. And that's the goal in life, is to constantly evolve and change according to how you are now. You never have to stay in something that you don't want to stay in for long term because you're scared. There's always another way. And that's what I'm in the process of doing, is developing all these new gifts and talents that I'm learning about myself unapologetically, and just learning to do it with my clothes on instead of off. And that's a beautiful gift, right? Maybe some podcasting. I don't know what's going to be ahead for me. I just know that I'm in transition mode, but I do know that I am so appreciative of my home and so thankful that I did not sell my home. And so what I'm wanting to say then is, I don't have a Christmas tree this year because I sold everything. And then part of me was like, well, I could rebuy everything. But there's something inside of me that this year I just feel like I want to just kind of force myself to get out there in the world more and go take pictures by the trees that are already decorated, and go out in the world and get beautiful scenery and stuff for URSYS Great Adventures, and just kind of force myself out of my comfort zone. Because when you work from home and you do everything from home, it's sometimes, there'll be days and days and days where you don't have to leave your home. And there'll be days and days and days sometimes that I don't even see anybody. And I know that that's probably not exactly normal, or what is normal, I don't know. But I mean, I feel like I'm being led to be out there and get some footage out there at the beautiful places, and actually just expand my channels and do some new things and be more creative instead of just filming by a Christmas tree here at my house. And so I've decided this year, I don't know what's going to happen next year, but this year I've decided that I don't need a Christmas tree. I don't decorate. I'm not going to decorate because nobody's coming home this year. Now, I guess it depends on if you have family coming home or not. Of course, if you have family coming home and grandkids coming home, you'd be more inspired to do all that. But if everybody's at different stages of their life, so I feel like for me this year, since nobody's coming home for the holidays and it's just me, a single woman living by herself, I don't feel like I need to do all that. And I used to feel like that for Vlogmas. I used to feel like I needed to decorate everything for all of my videos. And now I feel the opposite this year. And so that's why you're not going to see on all my Vlogmas, you're not going to see any decorations in my home, because I'm choosing not to buy. I'm choosing just to save my money, pay off debt, and just be smart with my money this year. And so we have different times in our life where we just need to be smart with our money. And especially if you're making a job transition, you definitely have to be smart with your money. You have to save your money. You have to figure out some way to grow your money and just do better. So for me, that's what's the most important thing this year is, just getting my financial situation on track so that I can make some very important decisions for my life. And when you don't have a husband, you don't have anybody else helping you with any bills, and it's all on you, you definitely have to make really, really smart decisions for your life, because if you don't, it can sink you. So your decisions, every decision you make, there's a consequence, a good consequence or a bad consequence. So if you think you're going to go spend all this money just to make Christmas wonderful and put it all on your credit card and then have to pay all that for months and months and months, is that a smart decision? I used to tell my kids, if you don't have cash, you can't afford it. If you don't have the cash without paying the interest rates, you can't afford to buy that. And that's a great principle to look at, because sometimes we want to give everybody everything, even though we don't have it. And then it leaves us in a bad situation for months and months down the road, which can cause a lot of problems in marriages and financial difficulties. I feel like if you teach your kids that the most important thing is finding love inside of themselves, and the most important thing is finding free activities, just like I described, going to the places that have the Christmas trees, going to the places that have ice skating and watching them. Going to the mountains, finding free hot springs, wherever you live, finding something that you can do, hikes and walks and nature stuff, and packing your lunch. And I promise you, when my kids were growing up, we talk about this, they didn't know we didn't have money. They never knew we didn't have money, because I made every day fun. And now I'm realizing in my stage of life right now that some of my happiest times are not when I'm spending money, because I went through all those stages. I told you I used to be a shopaholic. Now I'm finding that my happiest times are spending it by myself on a great date that doesn't cost anything, a $5 movie on movie day, happy hour from 3 to 5 to get half off appetizers. There are a million ways to save, and you're still having a good time, but it doesn't, or packing your lunch and going to the hot springs. You know me, I got to find water. And so this is just a reminder that the holiday season is not getting yourself in debt so that you can have a million presents under the tree that they're going to forget about it anyway. And it's so overwhelming that they're not going to appreciate the real meaning of the holiday season. And I think that we've just gotten lost with this overabundance of having to fill the tree clear to the top and buy the most expensive video games and the most expensive everything. I just feel like what happened, and then nobody communicates anymore. Everybody's on their phone and their electronics. And I just feel like the happiest times are when you're looking at each other, saying that I'm so thankful for you, and having great conversations and putting the cell phones away, and just realizing that the greatest times that you're going to have are the times that you can look at each other and actually have a conversation. And this younger generation is just not learning how to do that. They're learning that their electronics are their everything. And it's very sad. And I won't be a part of that, because I'm here by myself. And it's almost a good thing, because I feel like even when you're there partaking in family time, everybody's just on their phone. And it just makes it kind of sad. So I love living far away from my kids, because they have to call me to know what's going on. And we spend 2-hour conversations, sometimes 3 hours, talking, getting to know each other in the now. And that blesses my heart more than any other gift could ever bless my heart. So in that sense, everybody living far away has been a beautiful experience, because now we appreciate the phone calls and doing things the way it used to be, when actually people used to talk on the phone, So I love you. Happy holidays. And just remember, make your life amazing. Get on a dress. Take yourself on a date. Go see a Christmas tree. Get on your favorite nylons. Get on your favorite clothes. And you don't need anybody. Just go take some pictures. I love you.